Good afternoon. Today is October 1st, 2021, and today we had mostly a range day, but then it turned out to be an uptrend. If you caught this, which you definitely could have found this uptrend, that helped you. That would have gotten you a really nice failure right here, and you could have rode that all the way up if you wanted to, if depending on how you manage your runner. You probably wouldn't ride it all the way up because of this correction right here. But other than that, yeah, it was an uptrend day. Looks like we might have a channel right here too. Yeah. Okay, so there's a channel there too. Let's look at that. Let me see if I can. Nah, we'll just take a look. So, yeah, if you followed the rules this whole week, you would have made a lot of money. So I hope you did do that. I did a good job Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, yesterday, and today. I just threw it all to the wind. You could see also we made a measured move of the overnight highs and lows, and as soon as we went a little bit further, it looks like we got a little bit of a reversal. So we'll take a look at these trades. So right before the open, we got this huge leg up. And so right at a little after 5 o'clock, you get a great second entry long setup. And yeah, it is above the overnight highs, but there is room to these highs. What else? And it looks slightly congestive, but this is towards the low end of congestion. So I like this. I did like this trade. Even when I was in it, I felt pretty, well, obviously I felt confident because it just shot right up. But I did take this, I think. Yeah, I took this, okay. And then now is when it really, here I was like, is this congestion? You know, because we only made these two swing highs, and this looks like support. But once it bounces back here, that looks like an overshoot. That looks like a break, if you will. Move to a new high. Really, we got the break of this channel, 2 legs up to a new high. But anyway, we get this move up, and this, you get a first entry, failed second entry long if you want to enter there. I would just look at that as congestion. It looks like it's in the middle of congestion, so I probably wouldn't take that. So that's why I marked it as aggressive. And then you get an early confirmation of this trend line, okay? And we bounce, and you get a first entry, failed second entry long. And if you get that, you might try and hold on to a runner all the way to the overnight lows because it's at the overnight highs. You wouldn't get very close, but you would get a nice runner in here regardless. So nice failed second entry long right there. These are just too far from the EMA. I don't think we should take those. We break down into this congestion. Nothing here. This is the first entry. This is actually a second entry. Here, let me see if I can dim this. I'll pause it. Anyway, I drew this congestion. And then I drew a measured move. So let's take a look at that. This is second entry. Signal bar is no good, or else I would have taken that. This one is a first, so the failure comes here, but we don't tick lower. So I don't know, maybe even though first entry, second entry, this is like a third, this looks like a failed third entry long, but it's in congestion, so we're not looking for failures anyway. Depending on how you look at it, you might go long here, just as a failed breakout. But anyway, we go the other way. Hit that measured move, come back here, probably stop some people out who went short. I think that might have made a scalp, but no more than that. And then we make a new high, and then we just come down lower. And this is a lower high that I'd probably take, but signal bar was no good. Make a new low, first entry, second entry short. I didn't see that. You might take that second entry short, but that bar is just, that signal bar is so big. It's a lot of risk. You get a lower high though, and you do get a scalp out of this. But that's it, unfortunately. First entry, failed second entry, but you're not looking for failures in congestion, which I did, by the way, right here. First entry, failed second entry long, and I was just way too eager. I saw all this and I walked away, which is good behavior. But then I came back and I was like, oh, let me take that. I just freaked out, man. This right here, this is a second entry short. And I'm not saying I would take it because you get this doji here. This definitely looks very congestive. But I'm sure there are reasons to take this. And especially if you have this trend line drawn. And look, it takes one tick higher than these two, than this double top. Boom. And then all those people who got trapped going long falls out. You get a pullback onto the measured move. And this is all too far from the EMA. And we get a slight overshoot, which leads to a break. This is a second entry, nothing here. I wouldn't take this just because it looks like, let's see. Because that, it's just a lower high. If you're looking at that as a lower high, but lower high of what? You don't really know. So that's just like a first entry. Here we get a first, second entry, and I like that that is at this previous level of resistance, and there's plenty of room back to the EMA. I marked it as aggressive because of all this congestion, but the bias is down, so I think you can take that. And here, this is a second entry short. It is in the middle of congestion, and the signal bar is not great, but this kind of looks like it trapped longs, and you get a lower high, so I would think you could, you know, if you're being aggressive, ride that back down to the EMA. This week really convinced me that maybe I should reconsider taking runners. It's just, runners really stress me out, so you get a 4-point move just about right there. And I just don't think on 3 contracts runners is worth it, unfortunately. But on days like today and yesterday and Tuesday, it worked out. So if you had, if you drew off these highs and then off these lows, this channel, and you see prices bounce right here, you see this overshoot of this channel, and you see prices bounce off the lows of this channel, you get a first entry, failed second entry short, off the EMA, great signal bar. I say you go long there. And that's a really nice trap, and you get a nice move out of that. And I don't see how you could enter on this second entry because we don't have a trend line there. And it's below the EMA. But you get a first entry, failed second entry short after this big leg up. So you might take that. It's aggressive. It's far from the EMA. It looks like congestion too. And you're going into the overnight highs. So there are plenty of reasons not to take that. All this, I don't see anything in here. This kind of looks like a double bottom. First entry, failed second entry right here. So you might take that too. These are all aggressive though. Nothing up here. This is a failure right here, but that's way too high. You get a first entry up here after the break of this spike in channel. You see we get a spike in channel up. And we get a break of that channel, and you get a first entry, failed second entry long. I like that. I like that with the way that's set up. It looks like a channel. Could it be considered counter trend trading? Possibly. But for the most part, up to this point, the day was a range day. When we make hit this, form this congestion area, then it looks like this is a greater range. So this is actually a first, second entry, short. This is an aggressive entry, very aggressive entry. Very congestive right there. So I wouldn't recommend that, but you might take it. And this is with trend. So we broke up into this congestion. So this is a with trend or a counter trend breakout. And this is also a first, second entry long. So when you get that higher low, I think you can take this and ride it up to at least these highs. I don't know if you would have your congestion drawn like this yet because you might put it right there at first. But then later it looks like it's up here, maybe even higher though. maybe closer to this. So you get a first entry, second entry, and really this is super aggressive, especially if you have the larger channel drawn and you see it's off the midline. This one's super aggressive. I actually hopped in right here, and I got scared to death right here. I hopped in thinking, oh, there's room back to the EMA, and I got scared. But then you get this signal bar, and I think you can go short there, because that, especially once it breaks below this bar, that's going to trap a lot of longs, and it does. You get a double test or triple test of that high right here, but you don't get a good signal bar. You get this lower high. I think you can go short there just on a lower high. Then we bounce off the trend line again, and just really bad behavior by me here. You get a first entry, second entry. I think I went short here, and this looks like a reversal pattern, and we broke up into this congestion, so there was no reason for me to be going short. No reason. And we shoot up. You get a first entry, second entry. That signal bar right there opens on its low, closes on its high. Take that trade. Here you get a first entry, second entry off the EMA, and this, you might have this trend line drawn by then off of this low and that low. I put it as aggressive because it's going into highs, and this looks slightly congestive. This is a first, second entry, but this is also, and it's off the trend line, but this is also going into the highs, so probably don't want to do that. First entry failed, second entry short off the previous trend line. We come up here, and this also kind of looks like counter trend trade, but this just looks like we've gone too far too fast. And not to mention, we just bounced off the highs of the channel. Let me delete this secondary channel. Just bounced off the highs of this channel. First entry, failed second entry. That's a great signal bar, and it closes beneath the EMA. I really like that. Down here you get a first entry, second entry short, but the signal bar is not great. And then this just looks like congestion, so this is a new high. First entry, failed second entry long, but very congestive, so I don't suggest you take that, especially after this move up. I think I took it. Poor behavior, poor restraint. And I like this because the bias is up, and this is off of our trend channel that we overshot. You get a first, failed second entry short, and look at that signal bar. That's a great signal bar. And that's the first break of this trend line. And look, we test the measured move of the overnight highs and lows, bounce, and you get a first entry, second entry short here. This is definitely aggressive because this looks like it's acting as support. So I don't know. I don't think I took that. And then after, this is after the close, but this is off the trend line. This is actually how the trend line was drawn. And you get a first entry, second entry short off the trend line, room back to the EMA. That looks like two legs up, so I like that entry. But it was right at 1 o'clock, maybe even after 1 o'clock. So that's what I saw for today. Let's check out my bad behavior trades. And look, people always, or not always, someone in the YouTube comments the other day was saying, like, you should try the MES, and I'm just not ready. I took a trade on the MES today for my, to not get fees, and it went well. I got my first trade right, but then I let it go to my head, and I tried a second trade, and it was purely impulsive, and I ended up losing like $30. So I'm not ready for the MES. Not ready. So yeah, first entry, second entry long, no problem with this. Looks like price rejection, so I like this. No problem with that. So, you know, we know that prices are going to, they're going down here. And we have this range drawn, but we're not looking for failures. And so I'm looking at this. I said first entry, failed second entry long, right here. First of all, This is congestion. Don't look for failures in congestion. Second of all, this is a doji, and this is a doji. So just don't enter on that. We know prices are going lower, so wait for a good setup. And you get a second entry short off the trend line right here, and then a lower high right here. Be patient. Okay, so that messed me up, and this was just very aggressive. Had I waited, maybe I would have entered this trade. This is second entry short, but look at that. I mean, you take a second entry short and it works. You know, follow the rules. Follow the rules Mac has given us. This is a lower high. I don't think it's... Yeah, I mean, if we made that double test right here, or triple test, whatever that is, and a lower high, I think that's okay to take that. And here, yeah, I went short. And I think, oh, I took this as a lower high. So first entry, hold up. Looks like we might have already had a scalper's profit at that point. 26.50. Yeah, so just enter on the second entry. That would have gotten you a scalper's profit. I don't know what I was thinking going short there. Terrible idea. Terrible behavior. And then here, second entry short, and look at that, it works out. Just follow the rules. Not even a good signal bar. I think this is an okay entry. Definitely aggressive, though. Just follow the rules. Let's check out these MES trades. Oh, this is not on the simulator, so give me a second. Prices, this is the MES. Prices were in this upward range-like channel here. And I went long above this bar on like a higher low back into a congestive area. I think this is too aggressive. I'm going into the midline. And this signal bar was pretty massive. So I think I'm not too sure how I feel about that. But then anyway, I think I went short on a lower high right here and got trapped. Let's see. $86, $85.75. Yeah. So got trapped here, and I think that's not a good idea because look how close you are to the EMA and the midline. And I was just being super emotional and impulsive. So those are the trades I took. I hope everyone had a good week. And I'll be back next week.